little bit of trouble with my son and just the internet connection right now, so hopefully we can get through this without it cutting out again. So today, instead of doing chapter 4, I'm going through in-game strategies. In chapter 17, there's the simulator. I showed in my chapter 17 video how to get here. It's just past Chadley. You can only get here after you've done, or after you've completed the game, and then you come to chapter 17 through chapter selection. You've done all the Coliseum battles, and then you do all these simulation battles. You get to these last two, and they're actually pretty simple up to the last two. Doesn't take too special a strategy or anything. These last two, it's possible to die in. In fact, you can kind of count on it the first few times. I might even lose a few of them this time. So I'm going to go over the strategies, how to prepare, and then part of it's just luck. So let me show you some of the materia setups for this first battle. It's the Legendary Monsters one. I'm going to be using Cloud, Tifa, Barret. First major monster you have to worry about in legendary battles is the Tonberry. Since you are going to be dealing with the Tonberry, it's good to have a warding materia with the time materia that'll prevent him from doing stop on you. If he can hit you with stop and you already have one party member dead, then you'll have two of you frozen and he can actually finish you off. It's not a fun situation to be in. I've had it happen quite a few times before. And then the other one you want to do is a fire materia with an elemental materia. Just helps against the organic things. I guess it's not something that's super necessary this time. It's just how I have that set up. Anytime you're doing something on hard mode, 2 HP plus materias and a revival materia. First strike's a must. Tifa also has the first strike. She also has the warding with the time, and she also has a revival. And then Barret healing with the magnify, so he can cast Regain and heal the whole party at the same time. And then revival materia also maxed. And then he actually only has 1 hit point plus just because he has naturally high hit points. That Tifa also has 2 hit point pluses. So basically you want to make sure everyone's over 9,000 hit points. Makes this easier. And make sure everyone has the revival materia, and then use the warding materia with the time materia so that you can prevent stop. One other materia I forgot to show you was the cleansing. I have it on Barret. It'll help against the final monster, which is a Marlboro. I'm gonna go Cloud, Tifa, Barret. Hopefully this works out.
Don't overdo it.
I got this. Because she can actually stagger.
You ready?
Just using regular guy. Focus.
Keep going.
Pretty simple. Bomb's not too tough to beat. This is the fight that tends to get me. You don't have to worry too much about
It's over.
like having high defense or anything like the Tonberries.
You ready?
You do want to shot pony. Kill you with one hit. That's why we have the ability to cast the guys. When you cast, we can switch to someone else, so he's targeting someone else.
Keep it together.
I got it. You ready?
Tifa, I'm sorry. Deal with that.
Alright, watch and learn. Bring it home.
Take it over.
Break time.
Come on, I can't do this
You can
without
see why there's
you.
the
Got
rise
this.
in
All
Fury
set.
as important.
Come on.
Can you fight?
Just keeping people alive.
Hold on. I'm coming.
Not done yet.
In the original Japanese translation of that one on the Super Nintendo version, when it's called Final Fantasy III, they were called Pugs. Really sure.
Keep it together.
I got it.
Thought I was a combination
Give it your all. Come on.
Not bad.
Next fight, if I remember right, it's against Zero. We're just gonna
Deal with that.
hit it. Try and
Bring it.
get me in the TV bar. Fast, friggin' everybody. And the TV bar with him. All change it up a little. I'm gonna try to paint this with Cloud. This one does have a lot of hits, but I just carry effects.
Keep it together.
Yes, it's my turn.
Infinity's End does work well against this. It moves slower. The barrier and mana wall, which actually casts mana ward and barrier at the same time.
I'm counting on you.
Let's see what this works like that.
Come on.
You ready? Big bounce.
If you wanted to keep its attention on Cloud, you could use
You ready?
the provoke
This
material.
fight's not over yet. We gotta switch it out.
Take it over. It's on you. Hey, back. Get ready.
Spells. Keep it back up. Yeah, 3-year-old's up. Just had Roblox die. He's playing it on my phone. He'll be okay. He's he this a little bit.
Duty calls.
Because Remake is also killing. So this is just a grind fight, it's not a hard fight. Everybody alive. Basically more than one dead at a time. Like we fought this already, we got there 4 times. If we would do side quests. So you know kind of what it is. For this specific challenge, you are doing it in a different mode. Hard mode, so it does make it a little bit more challenging. It's still not an impossible fight to get through. Body staggered there. Still does some AoE stuff. Just body slam.
Don't overdo it.
Hopefully Mega Flare will get down the rest of his body.
Get some rest.
Close to the limit right?
You ready?
You do time that right?
I can't. I won't.
That's Gaga. You time that right on focus break. Body slam like that. Stagger and getting upper and lower bodies. Corners.
You ready?
Up again. Probably should have put some this one here. It's been a while since I've done this without the Gotterdammerung on my characters, so I forgot about how much of the ground was specific.
Fight's not over yet.
I'm sorry. Be careful. It's on you.
Let me No more games. It's over.
Hit the upper body, full cloud. Stagger
Nothing personal. Took you
Next
long
fight's
enough.
going to be against the Tomberry and Bomb. Pretty much like the Tomberry fight before. Just going to focus on the Bomb first.
Take the lead.
All set. Here. Big guns. You ready? Keep it up.
And once the Bomb's done, you have to shoot it. Raise. This fight, you want to kind of try and conserve your MP a little bit with her, so if you have a choice, use your other spell, or your other player to do the raise.
Still up for it?
I got this.
The Bomb's done. Focus on combos.
I can fix this. Don't overdo it.
Need my help, do you? Bring it home!
Let me handle this.
Hang back.
Come on!
Keep it together.
All set. I'm back.
Don't go to that!
I'm waiting.
It's on you.
Taking over.
Can you fight?
Take the lead.
Okay, let's go. Here. You ready?
Bring it. Hold on. I'm coming. Deal with that.
About damn time!
Still up for it?
Want some more? Give them hell!
My turn.
One thing you can do with Cloud here too is go into Punisher mode. This order will automatically send you into Punisher mode. Hold square. It gives him automatically. Makes his defense go down, but he does about 50% more damage.
Hope you're ready.
When you're fighting a Tomberry, just the one-shot kill move.
You ready?
Your defense doesn't matter quite as much.
Kept you waiting?
Another move that I use against Tomberries, I find it
Hell
a
yeah!
little bit more successful in normal mode, and easy is the cheat trap. This fight, you want to switch right away
Take the
there.
lead.
Yes, it's my
Very
turn.
first thing you're going to do is get him that bar. This is where that cleansing material comes in. You cast resist on Cloud.
Going down easy.
Right
on
on.
yes.
And then it's just kind of a grind from here.
Don't overdo it.
Keep resist up. Next chance you get, you'll cast it on your other characters. Especially anyone who's going to be closer to the monster. Cast it on Chief anyway.
Make them work for it.
Malboro, classic Final Fantasy monster. People who have gone against him before. They stand you're up against with. We use a very specific move called Back Breath. You get hit by it, it's not fun. It turns all of your characters into muted poison frogs. Here it comes. What we cast is pretty much made us immune to this move. We'll see if there's an effect there.
You ready?
That's what we want. There, it got another bar. Where we go into healer mode.
You're up.
My turn. Hope you're right for me.
All set. You ready? Heads up.
Put down some ground for it because it's not a very mobile thing. Stagger bar down.
Watch yourself.
Another thing to repair it. Here on Tifa.
Bring it. There's still enough. Give him your all. I won't.
One more with Tifa. And use True Strike. Gives a damage bonus.
I got this. It's over.
Hell yeah!
Maybe dial it back a little?
So that's how you do that specific battle. Took me 13 minutes. I think my record on it's closer to 7, but that was with the Gotterdammerung. Yeah, 7 minutes, 57 seconds, so 8 minutes. It's not a tough fight if you're prepared for it. Even when you are prepared though, sometimes the Tomberry can put an end to you pretty quick. This next one, we're going to set up for a little bit differently. Now these monsters are all the different summons. Leviathan's probably the trickiest and toughest to figure out. I'm not really sure why he is as hard as he is. Like before, gonna want the revival materia. Gonna forego the deadly dodge on Cloud. We will use it for Tifa, and I'm actually gonna forego the first strike on Cloud. Just because these are longer fights, and that just gives you the benefit at the beginning of the fight. It doesn't necessarily help you at the end of it. So, getting rid of those. Get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of those. So I'm gonna have 2 HP up, and then you want 2 MP up on every character you have in, just to make sure that you have plenty of ability to heal, to do damage. Some of these fights are grinds much more than even the behemoth that we fought in the last battle. So we have the 2 MP up. Some people like to use a luck up. What luck does in this game is it improves your critical hits and helps you defend against critical hits. Alright, so we have that. Elemental materia on Cloud I'm going to put with ice. This one's kind of weird because there's a lot of hard fights back to back to back, and you can't really prepare for just one, so you're preparing for all 5 of them all at once. This elemental and ice materia, that combo by itself pretty much guarantees you can get past Shiva. I'm gonna do the same setup on Tifa so that I have 2 DPS on Shiva and I can hit her hard. You do want a fire materia, you'll want a lightning materia, and you'll want healing materia. Lightning is for Leviathan when he goes into flight mode. We'll get the healing. Alright, so that's how that's going to be set up. And hopefully I didn't forget anything. So 190 MP. This one's a little bit more intimidating, especially without the Gotterdammerung already equipped. But flip these around. Put that there. Again, with her, we're going to forego the first strike. I do like to keep the deadly dodge on her. You see how I used it against the Marlboro. It's pretty much the same type of thing. You do want to still have the revival on everybody. I'm going to move her lightning up here and give her an ice. We'll steal Aerith's ice. The warding and the time is not as important. This time, some people like using the time materia with Tifa just because when she staggers you can stop them and keep the stagger bar a little more. So same as Cloud, we want to have fire and lightning. There. We'll actually stick with the hit point absorption. It'll help us keep our hit points up a little bit more. Now we'll go with the first strike. So one thing you can do in this game is you can always be playing with these things, changing them back and forth. So she has a similar setup to Cloud's. Barrett's gonna actually be the one that changes a lot here. One of the most important materia is this barrier. I'll talk about it when I get to that point in the battle. You want a fire materia on them again. The cleansing is not quite as important this time, so we will drop it. MP is much more important this time, so we're going to give him another MP up. Cap his MP, he has his hit point up one, his magic up, that'll increase the potency of the spells. He also needs a lightning. We have a healing on him with the magnify. That's going to be for regain. You'll pretty much use that in every single fight at the beginning of the fight. Magic up to increase the magic potency. He has the revival, lightning, so he's set up how he needs to be. Actually, not sure what I have on him. I think it's a circlet. Yes, so that'll work. You could set it up where you're giving him something with more materia slots, armor-wise, and or on Tifa, rather, instead of the 3, you can get an extra slot that way, extra materia. The one that I was thinking with Barret would be nice would be a first strike, but it's not absolutely necessary. So as we go into this first fight, this is actually easier with Aerith instead of Tifa, but
well, it looks like I was about halfway through the summons battle, the secret ones that I just selected, and then my Wi-Fi cut out. So I'm redoing the video again. You can see the full video that's playing right now, like the beginning part of it, on my channel on another video. I added it on to the end of the one with commentary, and then I'll just comment on this one towards the end of the video. The difference between this fight with the Marlboro and the other one is I actually don't have the purification materia on Barret this time, so you can kind of see how you can avoid bad breath, get away from it, those types of things, so that you don't have problems with it later on. You can see Tifa moving in, moving out, and then you're just using the distance, especially as you go back to do that focus strike, to watch for the bad breath warning to pop up. You see it pop up and you want to get as much distance as you can. If you get hit by that, or you step in it, or even with as much distance as I had there, you saw Tifa got hit, got turned into a frog, so she's going to be asleep and out and have all those effects you can see underneath her name there added on. Essentially, they're going to be done for another 2 to 3 minutes in the fight, and without the purification materia, it's no way to undo it. It's in hard mode, so you can't use items. So you pretty much just have to tough it out at that point. A lot of these fights, they have contingencies like that, where if it goes smooth, all goes smooth, you have the right materia on, you can avoid stuff. This Marlboro fight is 1,000 times easier when you have the purification materia on Barret, so you can just cast resist and nobody gets hit by it. You can see Tifa's still a frog there, still asleep. Truth be told, Marlboros are probably one of my favorite Final Fantasy bad guys. They go back quite a bit. I know at least Final Fantasy VI on Super NES had them, probably before that though. And then you have the King Marlboros in Final Fantasy X. That's where I like to do a lot of my grinding for spheres and money and stuff. You'll notice with Tifa I actually have some of the hotkeys that I'm using on her. She's probably the only character I use those hotkeys on. I kind of like the slow motion effects and stuff, but with her it's all about speed, and it just kind of looks cool when you're using the hotkeys. But pretty much it's just a deadly dodge. And then focus strike, and you can almost keep your ATB up indefinitely with just those two moves on their own. You do have that Star Shower strike and Unbridled Strength and a few other things. I love using that Unbridled Strength and like twice get it up where she's at her max strength, and then using these combos where you don't use your triangle. You can get a lot of damage, you can stagger things pretty quick that way.
Mind taking over?
Hell yeah!
Maybe dial it back a little?
So here we're going to go into the Monsters of Legends fight again. I'm just doing the voiceover this time so I know that the video will be good and make it all the way through. Some people here prefer to put the Magnify on the barrier material for a Bahamut. It might even be a better way to go about it, just because you can keep barrier on everyone at once, and that's it's a fight where he does quite a bit of damage. Usually it's focused on the tank, but once he summons Ifrit, it becomes a little bit trickier of a fight. I mean, really that ice elemental materia combo on the armor is the only materia setup you need to beat Shiva. It makes that Shiva fight super easy. The Fat Chocobo fight's never been a really difficult one. It's just a matter of staggering him and doing a lot of damage. And then the Leviathan's, it's the tricky one. I'll say that a lot. It's the one I haven't quite figured out his moves, his move set. But all said and done, he's not too difficult to beat. You just try and crowd him when he pops up and hit him and do as much damage as you can, and then once he goes to the sky you cast low-level lightning. Unless you're using Cloud or someone who doesn't use a lot of MP for healing, then you can use the Thundaga. But yeah. And going into the Bahamut fight, really that's the only one that's a challenge here, and makes it difficult because it comes fourth and last, so sometimes you're half an hour in and you don't want to have wasted that time. So there's a few things you can do with Bahamut to try and mitigate his Mega Flare attack. That's ultimately what's going to determine whether you beat him or not, is what happens at Mega Flare. So here's Shiva. You'll see Cloud make short work of her with that combo of the ice materia and the elemental materia. She's just healing him. He doesn't get any knockback. In essence, she cannot cause any damage to him at all. Sometimes you can use that same combo on Tifa. It's not absolutely necessary. Cloud can do enough just by himself. And when you do enough damage to Shiva, something she's going to do on hard mode that I haven't seen her do in the other modes, maybe she does it and it's just not as noticeable, or it's to some lower extent, is she creates, they look like electrons floating around her. They're little ice orbs. Those mitigate any spells cast towards her. So if you do like a Faraga, a high level fire spell, it will just be absorbed by one of those orbs. So when those orbs come up, you want to use low level magic if you're going the magic route against her. They don't do anything to mitigate normal attacks, and because you're fighting summons back to back to back, conserving MP is important. So that's why this strategy works well. So you can see the orbs, they popped up there. Each one of those will absorb a spell. So if you cast looks like four fire spells, that would get those orbs to disappear one at a time. And then once they're all gone, you can start hitting her with magic again and using higher level spells. Another thing that those orbs do is they create a rigging effect on Shiva. So her hit points are gradually going up while she has those around her. It's kind of like the Scorpion Sentinel fight in Chapter 1 where you have to damage him faster than he can heal at the end. Same thing with Shiva. She could actually heal back up to full, and she has done that on me before. So you just want to do as much damage as you can to her as fast as you can. It's pretty simple when you can't do damage. And you see after the stagger, she brings the orbs back up. That one move that she just used creates an area of effect ice around her. That one again. It's a spell she only uses if you're getting close to her to use physical attacks, or an ability she'll only use for that. So if you don't have the elemental materia, or if it's not mastered, then you'll want to keep your distance and just watch for that move. But otherwise, most of her attacks are pretty easy to avoid either way. So you can see that's pretty much a fight that's impossible to lose against Shiva, as long as you have Cloud's sword, or Cloud's elemental with the ice for the defense. You just pound on him with the sword. It works pretty easy. That Chocobo's actually one of the more fun fights in the game. It's a bit goofy. He has that little Moogle that comes, helps him out. The Moogle summons different monsters to come fight with him. Right there, it looks like it's Tonberry. But it's a weaker version of the Tonberry than what you fought in the Legendary Monsters challenge. In fact, this Tonberry dies in a few hits. It doesn't blast, but it can still do the one-hit kills, so you want to get on it as fast as it appears. I think it shows up as multiple question marks for its name, so it doesn't even get a name as far as the characters go. Also a bomb that can be summoned, and the bomb is also multiple question marks for the name. If you're trying to do the game log and assess every enemy, that's where you get those enemies that just have question marks for their names. The other enemy that only shows up in this Fat Chocobo fight is the Cactar. Now, with Tifa, you can use certain moves to increase the damage you're going to do against the Fat Chocobo. If you still need to do the trophy for getting up to 200% damage or 300% damage, any attack with triangle is going to boost the stagger gauge, and then True Strike will do it. There's a few others that will. If you use Unbridled Strength and then go into triangle attacks, you can get it up. And there is a trophy to get it up to 300. And then there's the Chadley challenge where you have to get it up to 200. So both of those you can do in the Fat Chocobo pretty easy, just because the stagger gauge goes down so slow. Pretty standard, easy fight. You just keep everyone healed. You shouldn't have to use too much MP. After each fight, you do get 50% of your maximum MP and HP back. So as long as you don't use over half your MP healing in this fight, you're fine, and it shouldn't be an issue. You can see I'm using the same combo with Tifa that I used on the Marlboro, Deadly Dodge, and then the Focus Strike. It's like I said, you can pretty much use it indefinitely without running out of APD. Once you do get a little bit built up, you can start using other abilities. Whichever's are your favorite, whether you like True Strike for the big damage all at once, or Chi Blast to help keep the stagger gauge up, or pretty much anything you want to use. It's easy to use out of that. There's those bombs I was talking about, and another Tonberry. You'll notice that Tifa now, after she does the Deadly Dodge, she has other movements that she's adding where she's jumping and doing kind of like a Ryu and Ken from Street Fighter style tornado kick thing. That's part of that using Unbridled Strength. When you get it up to its maximum level, she adds that. So when you see it says Rise and Fall, that's when she's at her max level of damage, like Super Saiyan Tifa. You can see when Fat Chocobo gets pressured, he starts to roll and bounce around and things. Just avoid him. My video cut out a little bit there. It's cut over to the Leviathan fight, but Fat Chocobo was almost dead. With Leviathan, he has a few laser blasts he uses. So once he goes under and pops up back again, you want to get to him as fast as you can, because he's going to use that laser blast, or those... They look like little balls of ice or electricity that he's shooting at you there. So you get to him as fast as you can, do as much damage as you can. I like using Tifa because she's fast. and move around on him. This is the move that's really difficult to avoid. It's almost easier to block it. I'm just always seem to be slow to react to it, even though I know it's coming. It causes the most damage, I think, out of any of his abilities. He does it twice in a row back to back every time. That time we were able to jump away from it. And then, again, crowd him as fast as you can. He uses lots of not fun abilities if you keep your distance on him. His defense is not as high as the other two summons, I don't think, up to this point. Shiva's gets high just because she has that regain. And then Fat Chocobo, that's about all he has is defense. This is another thing that Leviathan does. He dives in and out of the ground. Sometimes he'll do it multiple times, so you have to run around a little bit to avoid it. And here comes that move again.
Man,
So you know it's going to come a second time. You know it's coming. I still couldn't get out of the way. Again, it's easier to block. It's easier to just block that. You'll still take about 1,000 damage. There's those. He can also use a laser there, where he'll shoot a laser and he kind of sweeps it across the arena that you're in. So after this stagger, we'll probably have done enough damage to him that he might go into his final phase, where he just kind of floats around. He creates these tornadoes. So there's 3 tornadoes that follow you. So you have to always be moving to avoid the tornadoes. And then he's floating in the sky, so it's hard to hit him with physical attacks. If he pops up in the center, then he's going to go into that phase, and he did. So now you watch for those tornadoes. You can see one starting to form underneath him there, so you want to move out of the way a bit. Figure out where all of them are, and then just kind of avoid the 3 tornadoes. If you have excess MP, you can use higher level thunder spells. Cloud. This is about all I use his MP for, is in this battle, and then maybe supplementary healing and stuff on Bahamut. So you just wait for the ATB bar to build up. Barret can use Maximum Fury. You want to make sure you aim for a part of the monster that doesn't have a tornado between Barret and the monster, or else the tornado will absorb the bullets, so you won't do any damage. So Cloud, using Thundaga, he's going to use lower level spells with Tifa.
That sucked.
So long as she has the MP for it. You can see her MP is below half, so I don't want to use her MP too much more just for the next fights. But if you're fighting Leviathan by himself just to get the summon materia, then you can go all out. You could hit him with every spell you wanted to right here.
Don't think you'll walk away from this.
Eventually he does come low enough where you can hit him with a few moves. He doesn't stay there very long. And he still does that glider move that you saw. You can see he's floating a little bit lower now. Still probably not close enough to hit. You can see that I ran underneath. I pushed square a few times just to see if I would jump up and hit him. He's not quite that low yet. if you can stagger him once he's hit this mode, you can usually finish him off. I have the summon that popped up. I don't want to use the summons if I can avoid them. He always seems to do that too. He'll dive low right in front of you when there's a tornado there. It's like he's baiting you. If you feel comfortable with the amount of hit points you have and he's close to staggering, it might be worth just going after him anyway. But yeah, Leviathan's not a tough fight. It's one that I haven't figured out completely how his patterns work, how he decides which part of the screen to go to when he does those dives across, different things like that. So if you know, put it in the comments. Let us know what's going on with that. I'm just trying to keep Tifa's rise and fall up for when it comes low enough to hit it. And there it's staggered. You can see its hit points are pretty much done. It's hard to finish it off, especially if you have a break. So this last fight's the one that matters. If you can win this fight, you can pretty much win the whole series of fights and get that Gotterdammerung. Bahamut has the ability where he's only going to target whoever you're controlling. So you kind of want to position him where the other people are on the opposite side of you. It's almost like being a tank in an RPG. Try and get his area of effect attacks away from everyone else. And this is where having that barrier materia matters. You want to get it on Cloud. If you can get it on everybody, that's great. Once he does pick up Cloud, you want to do as much damage as you can as fast as possible. And then he goes into this phase. Again, you want to pressure him once he's there. Damage him as much as possible so that he doesn't go into his move that follows up, which is like a claw attack that does like 5,000 to 7,000 HP of damage. Something you want to avoid as best as you can. But again, you're basically going to tank it with Cloud. Try and keep on Cloud as much as you can, especially while it's attacking. That was that claw attack I was talking about. And then try and keep everyone's hit points up. And there's a few contingencies to this fight. If you ideal situation, everybody has regain, everyone has full HP, and everybody has the barrier slash mana ward slash whichever the highest level spell of that is. You get that on everybody and keep their HP up, then everybody survives Mega Flare. That is the ideal situation. Next next step down from that would be you just have everyone with full HP and at least the barrier on Cloud. 9 times out of 10 you're fighting Ifrit, and Ifrit has started to deplete people's HP, and you at least hope that you have your Cloud with his HP up, and the spell on. And if not, make sure Barrett has his weapon that gives him the ability to come back to life or something, or one of the characters has that where if they die, they automatically return with 1 HP. And you want to make sure everybody has at least 1 ATB bar so they can cast Raise real quick on the next person over when that happens. So you'll see as Bahamut's HP starts to go down, that's what's going to happen. Is I'm going to try and do those things, make sure I have at least 1 ATB bar though. So there you saw he used Mega Flare. I had the ATB bar on Barrett. And before he could hit me, because I already had the ATB bar up, I was able to get a raise up on Tifa. With her, I'm going to try and build up again. Luckily, she has a limit break and can finish off Bahamut here, probably. Yeah, he's gone. So now you just have the Ifrit. But really, all the key is surviving Mega Flare. Some people say once he summons Ifrit that you should just stay on Bahamut.
Kept you waiting?
Try and kill him as quickly as possible. Others insist that you take care of Ifrit first. I honestly haven't played with it enough to figure out which works best. Now we have Cloud back. We get Barrett back.
Good luck.
Taking over.
This is why having MP is so important on all the characters, trying to keep it as high as possible. Once you get past this Bahamut fight, it's actually pretty simple for the final fight, so
Good job.
you don't have to make sure that Tifa has full MP or anything like that this time. Pride and Joy is interesting. When he's glowing red like that, he's about to do some type of Iron Man chest beam thing. That's the only attack he has that really is damaging, that will hurt you. As long as you avoid it, his other attacks are mitigatable. You just want to make sure you have the regain on everybody. And he pretty much is going to target who you're controlling like Bahamut does. So if you keep that character pointed away from the others, then he's not going to hit them with any of those chest beams or any of his other attacks. So makes it a lot easier to stay healed. Then you just kind of pound him, take him out that way. Can't help but think this is a lead up to that called the Proud Claude fight that happens in the original game, and this is kind of the prototype for it. I think that's one of the most fun fights when you parachute into Midgar and Scarlet and Heidegger are there, that they have that giant robot. That's what this is reminding me of.
Not throwing in the towel. You ready?
You can see you can do limb damage on him. Hit his legs, hit his arms. He does grab you on occasion. When his right arm becomes a target, you know he's about to grab somebody, and you want to start doing damage on it right away. And probably gonna grab Tifa here after the body slam. And there it is. Since we've done some damage to the right arm, it'll make it a little easier to get it down. Cloud still has plenty of MP, so we're going to hit it hard with lightning. Try and do enough damage that it'll let go of Tifa. If you don't, you can actually squeeze her, take her down to the red in HP, maybe even kill her. So you want to just get rid of that as fast as you can. That lightning move he did with his left arm, it stuns you temporarily. I'm going to use Barrett, Maximum Fury on the right arm. We're going to just keep trying to hit at that right arm so Tifa can get out before she dies. I think that just got her out. capping off the HP here with Barret. That's why I like having the healing material with Magnify. Avoided that body slam. Actually, I think I avoided the other one the same way by using an ability. And Tifa has a few abilities that get you out of the way of damage as she's in the animation of casting. At very least, they eliminate the knockback, so you can keep hitting the monsters and keep their staggers far up or keep them pressured, those types of things. On the ground here, you can see he's leaving little puddles of red, almost like lava or something. Yeah, you just want to avoid those. Okay. There can be quite a few during this fight that he can get off all at once, and so you just have to be aware of where you're standing. But they're pretty simple to avoid.
Get him.
And we're gonna let the hump come in on the summon to help us finish him off. I know a lot of people say that the summons randomly pop up. From what I can tell, they actually have different conditions that cause them to pop up. And I believe Bahamut's is when you stagger something. Once you stagger something, is when I always seem to be able to get the ability to summon him during the fight. I could be wrong on that. If you know more about the summons and stuff, like, I haven't looked at a ton of guides. A lot of this is just observations I've made as I've been playing. So again, he's holding Tifa, so we're gonna hit that right on with everything we can. You can see he doesn't have a huge move that can do a lot of damage all at once. He just has that chest beam and then the grabs, and pretty easy to avoid most of the damage he could potentially cause. And that's the 5th fight of the Monsters Challenge there. Yeah, beat him, and congratulations, you have your Gotterdammerung. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, please watch the other videos. Feel free to subscribe. I am going to be going through the whole game. Thanks.